I'm not wasting any time. Just I like seeing you and I like talking to you behind the scenes. But fuck it, it's time for some Shindig Lager, and we're live.
Just a quick shout out to AC the auditor if he ever ends up watching this. Fuck shit balls, god damn it, fuck shit.
What's that?
Oh, there's a conversation going on. Sadie's working on some auto mods. Apparently there was some spicy shit going on and a bunch of spicier shit that I didn't know about, and so she's looking into potentially banning some racial slurs, even because there was some in different languages that we didn't know about or whatever. So she's looking at some of that stuff, and part of it was like, hey, do we want to keep it totally PG-13 and not having any swears? And I'm like, well, it's been fun. Obviously joking because I would have to ban myself pretty quickly. But she really is trying to kind of honor the highest principles that we can, right? So she's going to iterate on that stuff, and she's taking a look at it or whatever. And AC just asked, I told everybody I was going live here in a minute, and AC just asked if it could be a nonstop stream of profanity. So it shouldn't be nonstop, but I did want to offer at least a little bit. So there you go. I am going to punch this out to everybody though, just for.
I just realized that I realized I need to change the chair. I made a mistake. I'm sitting on a chair without a cushion, and I want a chair with a cushion because why not? When you have multiple chairs that you can sit on. If I was going to buy an NFT that gave me a chair, I'd make sure I got the one with the cushion. It's a really interesting concept. I like.
What?
Welcome to Happy Hour, everyone, with Corey and Jimmy. This hasn't happened in a while, actually. We used to do these shows where I was a little bit, and I'm not anymore. But that's so I'm actually a little bit behind on the whole. I'll be honest, I haven't been into mind test really at all compared to what I did in Minecraft. But it opens up a whole new world of possibilities when you have an open source platform that doesn't come with the restrictions, the TOS restrictions that we were kind of bound under with a lot of what Minecraft was giving us, right?
Right, we could explicitly say, especially because the WAC stuff and what have you, the NFT games are sort of by default. I think on the Wax Cloud wallet, it still has a checkbox to say you're over 18 or whatever, right? So there's something there, yeah. To your sort of alluded to point, we can do whatever we want. In mind tests. So, if there's some consensus around, not making it a kid's game or having a map, right? Like that, we could say, and it could launch, on the top, this is, adult server. If you're letting your 12-year-old play here, that's on you, right? Really all the rules really are off. And I think there's still a lot of merit in revisiting our core principles and wanting to maximize that, right? The uplift, we didn't just call it that for fun, right? I think we really do want to have as part of our culture, stemming from the gratitude practice and everything else, a higher order of, trying to be good to each other. Now, there's a far distance from, and this is what we're talking about. The thing, apparently somebody was using a racial slur or whatever. I didn't get a whole lot of context there, so don't ask me any questions because I don't know the details. But there's a lot of difference between that and me screaming "Let's fucking go," right? And so trying to bring a scalpel to that equation, but being able to do it in a different language, right? So I think Sadie's instincts are as usual very, very good, trying to look into what we can do programmatically or with a bot or whatever to make it a better experience and try to make it more kind of available for more people or whatever. So anyway, it's it's a struggle.
Yeah, don't get me started on racial slurs. I'll drop them all.
Please don't. Could you imagine Jimmy is just this secret repository of racial slurs? He's just been hiding this the whole time, and he just knows them all.
One of my best friends, my best friends in life. I met him at a party, a friend of ours party. And it happened to be Black History. I don't know if I've ever told this story. It happened to be Black History Month and Black History Day in America, I think, in the U.S. And we got talking about it, and I had one or two drinks, and I kind of went off on a bit of a tangent that it was This is absolutely ridiculous. Like the fact that we have and I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but I still believe this to this day. He'll disagree, and we're still good friends. But the fact that like we have a Black History Month is absolutely ridiculous to me. I almost dropped another slur in there, but like it's absolutely ridiculous. We shouldn't have a Black History Month. Black people have no problem understanding their own history. What we need is a freaking history month for white people who don't understand Black history, right? Like so.
Let me just, because I was getting a little bit worried with how you were framing this, but what you're really saying is that Black History Month should basically be mandatory education for white yokels.
Yes, and it shouldn't be a month. It shouldn't be like a month, right? Like
it's like a 12-year course.
I was in Toronto. I was in Toronto the other day. I hate Toronto, by the way, but I was in Toronto the other day.
Honestly, Jimmy, I love you for saying that. As a fellow Canadian who's from the western part of Canada, I kind of distrust people who say they like Toronto just a little bit.
And I like there's towns bordering on Toronto that I like a lot. I just don't like Toronto. But we were there, and it was interesting because I saw a sign. I've never seen a sign before, and maybe it's a thing, right? Like I didn't know what a Karen was for the longest time. You know, I'd been sheltered living in Japan. They don't call them Karens there; they call them Momokos. They don't. But anyway, like I saw a sign that said, you know, Black lives still matter, and I thought, wow, like that's the way that you should do it, right? And I got off onto this rant because we were talking about, you know, racial slurs and swearing and things like that, and you had mentioned something about the principles of the uplift, and I think that's it, right? Like we respect each other, we want to help each other, we want to uplift one another, and if you're going to come in here and you're going to be a troll, then yeah, I'm glad that bots are going to ban you, right? Like, you know,
right? But this is always the worry, right? I mean, that, you know, say whatever you want about Mark Zuckerberg, who's got 3 billion people on his platform, which is messed up. You know, he was on the Rogan podcast again. I haven't been listening to Rogan for years, but you know, I wanted to see what our biggest competitor in the metaverse space, you know, was saying about this stuff. And of course, like content moderation on Facebook, on Twitter, you know, all these things, it's a mess, right? Because they're trying to do it programmatically. We're small enough, and our community is kind of badass enough, frankly, that you know we can moderate things at a more granular level and have context that is sort of human backstopped, right? Whereas on Facebook, that's just not even remotely possible. But how much gets missed because of that, right? And it creates that sentiment that, you know, I mean, like I think I was, you know, calling somebody, I can't even remember what it was, but it was like some Nazi shithead, and I was basically like, you know, calling them white trash, and I used white trash, and that's a racial slur, so I got dinged. Now, if kicking me off Facebook for a week, or I don't even remember, whatever it was, right, putting me in Facebook jail for that will also get rid of all the Nazi shitheads, then, you know, okay, right? Especially if you have to do that with an app or whatever, or with a piece of software bot or whatever. Like it's not an easy thing, right? Like that, having that, you know, moderation, and the amount of conversations that we had, especially in the early days of the Uplift, around, you know, moderation and what the rules would be like. They were very long conversations, and you know, we really had to dig into what our principles were going to be, and where we were going to draw a bunch of these lines, trying to balance things between, you know, things that may or may not happen, you know, in context, out of context, or whatever, and just making sure dicks don't have a home here, right? Like that's just I think it was actually Wesley Crusher. Greg was telling me about this, came up with the internet rule. It's just don't be a dick. Right? And it's a great rule. Somewhat difficult to enforce with the bot, sadly.
I think we've got a pretty good core community. I'm noticing that. I'm struggling a little bit over here in Canada. Things have not been as easy of a transition as I thought they were going to be, because there's, you know, I mean, some of the things I should have pieced together, I'm probably smarter than that, but I forgot how daunting a 30-minute drive to go anywhere could be. Like how much of your day that takes up, right? Like,
so that just wasn't like that for you in Japan?
No, I walked 3 minutes, and if I missed the train, I had to wait 1 minute for the next train, right? Like,
oh man, that's so like so you were in an actually efficient.
Like, I was in what you sci-fi, you know, nerds would call utopia, essentially. I mean, if you've never been to Japan and you're a sci-fi nerd, go to Utopia, right? Like it's It's the Fifth Element minus the crazy Bruce Willis shit, right? Like,
is the chicken still good?
Right, the chicken's still good.
Chicken good. Chicken good.
But it's interesting to watch. Like, I've been having a lot of thoughts recently. I've been unplugged, but I've kind of been plugged into the ether, as it were. We've got a long way to go with the metaverse. Yeah. And like sitting here staring at the cornfields, 30 minutes from nowhere. Like I'm think about that. I'm staring at the cornfields 30 minutes from nowhere. Like, still where I go is nowhere, right? Like, it's one of the best farming areas in all of North America, I would say. But when I look at it and I think about why people would want to plug themselves into the metaverse, right, as opposed to Facebook, you brought up Zuckerberg, right? And I think this is really like clutch. Like, if there can be a metaverse that people could plug themselves into instead of Facebook and still have an identity, I think that's where the world changes. I think that's where we actually move on to having useful online encounters instead of tiresome, difficult, or non-trusted online encounters. Does that make sense? I mean, especially if we make it mandatory for everyone to plug their void in so we can see their actual facial expressions when they're speaking, right?
Right. Well, and this is where, and J-Rob, I'm totally going to get your comments. You got to pass on everything, like, as far as I'm concerned. I feel like we're damn close to family at this point. So, we just got to make it work. Near Toronto adjacent. Again, Jimmy called it, like, some Toronto adjacent places are all right. I'm sure Toronto's fine. Yeah. Russell Chorus loves Toronto. I mean, that's like, and you can't hate that guy for anything. It just doesn't work. Anyway, what the fuck were we talking about?
No, I just think like you're exactly right. The future, Corey. We're talking about the future.
Oh yeah. Okay, no, I got it back. Okay, so there's like all the negging articles about Zuckerberg wasting $10 billion on the metaverse or whatever. These are the same articles. I actually went back and looked because I remember this from back in the day. Facebook obviously started as a computer app, right? Before phones got smart in any way, shape, or form. The first iPhone started coming out, and he pivoted the entire company over to mobile focused, and everyone lost their fucking minds in exactly the same way. Everyone lost it. They're like, "Oh, this is stupid. You're gonna fail." Blah 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 blah. They're like $1 trillion company now, so like I'm sure he goes to bed every night just going like, "Haha, you guys are fucking idiots," right? Because he saw where it was all going, and he went in that direction. Now, what he's spending all this money on is actually like tech R&D. It's so that when you put the Meta on or the Oculus on or whatever, when you put the visor on, it's even in this one, the one that's coming out soon actually is going to be tracking your facial expressions so that your void will do the facey things or whatever, right? Or you can have, a representation of your face that will track that. And is it at Atari level, compared to where it's going to be? Of course it is, right? But that's he's spending that money on closing the technological gap, without going like straight full freaking Neuralink and trying to put it in our brains, right? Trying to figure out how to use all the tech that's out there to give us that immersive presence, right? And that immersive presence, I've been talking about it since like before the Uplift was the Uplift, like actually being in a place that's yours, and you can feel like we are with somebody else, right? And all your stuff's going to be there the next day. The signs we put up are going to be there the next day. All that stuff, right? Is where all this stuff is going. And it's the one thing that I think Zuckerberg has had right from the beginning around the word metaverse, because it's going to be a place where you can have that sort of sense of presence with people. And I think the one thing that we're going to get right that I haven't seen them even allude to is we're actually putting that into a contextual geological space, where you're going to have neighbors, you're going to have the ability to create, a community. And that's something that like, they're just going to have like 3D websites, right? And that to me is not where this is going to end up.
See, even when I promise myself I'm not going to do this, then I have to tell the story of why I'm not going to do it. So I'm still going to have to do it. But like, I keep telling myself I need to stop saying the fact that like what I'm most excited about the Uplift is for us to have one NFT. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if I could have one wish, that would.
Did we just lose Jimmy? Unacceptable. if I could have one wish, and then he freezes. Oh, are you back?
That's all you heard?
Yeah, that's literally it. If I could have one wish.
Oh man, the powers that be cut me off. What I'm so excited about what we're doing is where we've got this. I think we have this notion that eventually the Uplift will have one NFT. At least that's what I'm hoping. It will have one NFT that plugs into multiple metaverses, right? And like I think that everyone's trying to build a metaverse. It's like trying to have a newspaper, right? Like depending upon where your base is going to depend upon the newspaper that you want, right? And we had our issues with Minecraft, right? We're going to have our issues with Mindtest, but I think Mindtest will be a lot easier because it is open source and developers can come in there and build, right? So there's that kind of the crypto mentality, startup collective in there. Yeah. So I think that like some of the solutions that some of the issues that we did run into with proximity audio, for example, and things like that could potentially find a fix on Mindtest, right? But there's still going to be other problems, right? Like look at what the Rocket Gallery's been able to do with exporting the 3D files that he built on his plot Telos and dropping them in the middle of other museums on other metaverses, right? Like that's kind of like just the beginning, I think, right? Like,
well, this is where I think, especially through this bear market, I just invite everyone to go back to first principles on everything, right? We got a bunch of momentum. We're doing a lot of work right now on I just posted the thing about rewards. Jimmy, if you could go vote, even if it's abstain, like use all your weight. We need to get this thing past quorum. Oh, and everybody, Modded Outlaw re-released his proposal that didn't make quorum last time. That's unacceptable. It's so fucking good, and he's doing so much work on it. It at least has to get quorum so that we can move that forward. It's going to get overwhelming support anyway.
Is that proposal up? I thought
he just redid it. It was just today.
Oh, so he threw it up already. So it's already, you can vote for that.
It's up. And then there's the one that I just put up that Tuttle kind of pieced together for us. That basically, there's a couple little tweaks that we can do with rewards, or we can pause them. And I think C is what I'm going to be voting for, Plan C, to basically pause things until we get to the point where we're re-releasing an MVP on Mindtest, and we'll re-up active rewards in some form on Minecraft when we do, because this is the time to do it, right? It's the time to go back and go, okay, was this working? And like right now, like we've got a kind of a balanced uplifting economy, but that's not going to bring any kids to the yard, not kids, adults with NFT accounts. Just saying, like that's not what we want, right? And I think a lot of us are trying to think about how to increment slowly from this position. Anything that doesn't include thousands of people coming into our ecosystem, I don't give a crap about. It's not right. It's not where we want to go, right? It's not the value that we want to express. And so I think taking some time to figure that out is going to be really worth it, right? And the people that are here now, we want to make sure that they benefit as well. And we've got tons of ideas on how to do that, but like we need to set ourselves up so that we are one of the top few games, NFT games, on Wax and then on other platforms, so that we can get our economy going. Because once that happens, like nothing will bring thousands of people in our context to what we're doing faster than a red hot Upliftium and land economy. So that's sort of what I've been focused on. Sorry for the diatribe. I mean, not really, but a little bit.
That's okay. It got me thinking, and like I'm always pondering this as well. Like, where do we go? What do we do? I battle with myself about things that I want to propose, and in the end, I just don't propose anything. There's a couple really good, examples. I did, write up something that we were talking about, but I need to workshop it a little bit more. But the other one is like, we've got. I was thinking about what happens if we pull a one planet and we burn NFTs on one chain.
No, Jimmy, I know that you love this idea, but there's literally no reason for us to do that right now. There just isn't. We've got, like, it's a sexy thing that they did. Don't get me wrong. But they're specifically, they did that for a really important reason. They are not going to be on Terra ever again.
No. But but if you can go one way, you can go the other way.
That's what she said.
Right? And she wasn't wrong.
And she was right.
So
like, so what's the main, like, this has been coming up for you a lot, like, other than it's really cool, it's awesome whiz bang.
No, I have a very good answer for what I think is your question. We didn't have a metaverse on Terra, right? We didn't get there. I wanted to go. A few other people wanted to go, but we didn't get there. Right now, what would have happened in those days if I had the option to burn NFTs in the Uplift with Upliftium, and have them released on the Terra blockchain, and the one that was there was still there, but it was frozen. Right? I have all the same rights, but I have the ability to move to any blockchain that I want. I just have to find something like, and we just have to have connections with those blockchains, right? So then we have
like, we could do that, but like the use case for that right now, it just doesn't exist.
Is burning a shit ton of Upliftium in a bear market for fun, because that's what we do.
But here's the thing, like, who's the first customer?
Me. I'm gonna be the first customer.
So where do you want to take your wax NFTs and why?
I didn't say wax necessarily, but you know what
I mean, though, right? Like the whole idea is
I want to move. Honestly, like, I want to move some of them to Solana. I want to move some of them to.
So you want, like, the availability to have them on different marketplaces?
Yeah.
Okay.
What happens when I move it to Solana and then there's this NFT over there? It creates massive opportunities for trading arbitrage.
Okay.
Right? Like,
again, if a bunch of people did it, right? But
like, I think not it's wrong. Less incentive. Like, for me, I think for me it's less incentive about the real utility of the NFT, and more towards the idea that if you give that NFT an external playability beyond it just being metaverse key, then that opens the doors for people to trade it, people to play with it, people to pass it around. It's like it's like a Playboy magazine being left in the wrong mailbox and a 12-year-old kid finds it. You know how many, like, other of his friends have seen that, and the whole school is destroyed. Like, everyone's just in there, you know, because they're 12 years old. Then they find out that they might be under, like, a parent's bed. They're, like, searching for things. Like, the whole house is got, right? Like, that's what we can do. In my very humble opinion, we can do all the marketing we want.
Yeah.
But the best marketing right now for internal, you know, crypto, in my idea, is having that NFT be used for as many possible use cases, even if they're completely unconnected to the metaverse, as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that, right? I mean, and I think this is where, once we start releasing commodities out of the game, right? So, like, you know, especially on Mindtest, we were talking about the MVP for designing the actual game loops on Mindtest. And actually, I think I got talked into chairing the rewards committee, because we're going to run that out of that. Because I've got a fairly, you know, crystallized vision on how we can sort of turn that into something that's pretty nuts. But, you know, being able to you know, move those things around, you know, it's not crazy. And really, it's just a matter. This is where, like, you write the proposal up, you're gonna have to figure out, okay, there's a reason why people don't do bridges, right? Because they don't work, or they don't work often. And that, you know, to your point, like, if you're burning it on one side, and it's just completely and totally destroyed, that's like a database management thing, right? Like, we could actually do that manually, frankly. So there's things we can do there. I guess the only thing I'd want to see, if you were going to write that proposal up, is a market test, right? Like, get a list of 100 people that want to play with that right now, and we'll do it.
Yeah, that's good,
right? It seems inevitable, right? Like, the Jimmy Bridge of Doom, you know, might not happen this month, but, like, it you know, that does seem like, especially, like, where the future's going, not only is that inevitable, but, you know, where this is all going to end up, you know, it'll be presumed, and it'll be automatic, right? And it'll be back-end technology that's just going to take, you know, hey, I want to put it on sale on this marketplace. It's not even going to ask you or tell you that it's on the Binance Smart Chain. It's just going to make it work, right? So I think we're going to get to that point.
Yeah, and, like, I'm not entirely sure why we haven't got there yet. I mean, it's the same reason I'm not entirely sure why we're not living in, you know, Star Trek generation, where
right. Like, here's why. Axie Infinity lost $600 million to a bridge hack. That's why. This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, but our thing isn't really a bridge.
No, you're right.
If we do
right?
that,
Because
it's not a bridge. It's not automated, right? It probably could be or should be at some point in time, but I don't know. Like, no, okay. So I get that, but if you're okay. Here's a question. I don't know the answer to this. If you're burning something on one side and releasing it on another side, it acts as a bridge. But is it possible to hack that because you're not stealing it from anyone, especially if it's a low level off chain automation, right?
Well, that we're assuming that the mint side of that, like as long as there's like a sanity check human in the way, which is how we've solved these problems the whole time, right? Like we've got like a backstop on crystallization, we've got a backstop on rewards. Like that's how we managed it. Doesn't scale as fast as something that's automated, but it's infinitely safer than what Axie Infinity did, as an example, right? So if that's still the case, then then it's a one-to-one burn, right? But then you're worried about who has those keys and can they mint 1 million on one side without burning anything, right? This is where like the bridge stuff, it for trusting assholes like you and me, right? Like we just assume that it's all going to be okay because that's how we would do it. Unfortunately, there are people that are really just out there to burn people's houses down in the metaverse. Unfortunately,
yeah, it's a tough line to draw. I mean, I'm glad I get to draw it with people like you, right? Scott. And like you insinuated earlier in the show, we've had deep discussions on a lot of this stuff, which it kind of started, when we started having deep discussions on our show way back, right? And then we started working with the Uplift and had all of this. So it's weird to sit here and think about how quiet things are, but at the same time how busy we are. I've said this before, and I wanted to do this idea where we just cross different chains and do it with a different NFT. But then I got thinking, hey, I mean, let's dim the lights. And it was
sorry, my computer is actually the only light. I forgot that.
No, it's all right. I like it, but I like
making it sexier.
Know. Yeah, I think we're gonna release an NFT or two soon, Corey.
Okay,
from our NFT collection.
What? That thing we've been like teasing we might do for like a year?
I haven't nailed it down yet, but this is what I think I want to do. I think I just want to release one rarity because we've got some cool art. Mm-hmm. I think I'd like to make 21 of each. And then I think I'd like to sell them for 210 wax.
Okay.
And when I ran the numbers, I thought that was all right. It was like $14-15 an NFT. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that's like a decent, little payout that we could roll into creating more NFTs or connecting more or building our audience with the show or giving some away or like I don't know, because I don't want to do this like for any other reason than these NFTs are really cool. You've seen them. They're people that we love. They're people that we respect. They're people that we saw kind of get their upbringing in the last bear market. Like we kind of had them on the show and we interviewed them and we met all of these great people, right? And so for me, now seems the perfect time to release a really cool low key characterization of our artwork behind these people and what they've done in the space. And I don't know. I'd like to do it soon. What do you think?
Yeah. By all means, keep threatening me with a good time.
All right. How's it feel back in the office live? Because we haven't done this in a while.
It's been a million years. It is fun. I actually had a little fizzy drink myself. The family was watching The Bachelorette, and I refused to watch that sober. It makes me want to claw my eyeballs out. It's terrible. Yeah, no, it's good, man. To freaking miss the chats.
All right, I like it. Are you here for a while, or do you have to take off. We should maybe get TC on here. Let's get TC in.
Yeah, no, I honestly will be unconscious soon. I barely slept last night, so I definitely don't have a lot of time. Yeah,
I want to get
I
TC on the
can't make this an epic, unfortunately.
Fair enough. I want to get TC on the channel again. We have to do that. It's been a while.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Do we have anyone tomorrow morning?
No.
Are you available tomorrow morning?
I might be, depending upon the time. I'm actually going to do a show with Sean at 9:30.
Okay.
You want to come on the show with Sean?
Sure. I can do that. I miss that dude.
Maybe you could do that.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I think we're going to do 9:30 or 10.
Okay. Let me know.
Sounds good. Some cool updates. I don't think we have anyone for Friday either. This is actually streaming to your Twitter, Corey. Sorry, your LinkedIn as well. And,
right.
I need to get my LinkedIn set up so that people can follow me on LinkedIn, because on LinkedIn I'm just like a high school graduate. I got a really low level profile on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you got it on there. Went from high school graduate to co-founder of what will become the most amazing DAO anyone has ever seen.
Oh man, but we should do that next week, maybe on Tuesday. Corey, we do another DAO proposal.
Yeah, we should. There's definitely, don't wait, guys, until then. There's some stuff up there that we need to get to quorum by next Tuesday. Actually, they should be in the two that are up, main ones up that are up now will be in final, and those will be running for a few days. So yeah, no, that's probably really good timing. Jan and I started working on my cap deflationary schedule for Upliftium, which I've suggested I might release that as a sort of pre-proposal towards the end of this month. Might be kind of first. We got a lot of sort of pressing stuff that we're getting to, but yeah, I'm pretty serious about it. And there's been she went through a bunch of that stuff today, and I gotta hack some of it. But like, long story short, leaving room for some increase in monthly distribution in the short term to kind of fill in some of the blanks of some of the plans that we've had, and then a 12.5% decrease every 90 days, and basically have this sort of pre-mining phase finish out by about 900 days from now. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah. Anyway, so
and
that'll be for miners, active rewards, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, and then anything we're taking in for services. The general idea was you can now buy miners for the different various pools with Upliftium, and we're going to actually expand that out, I think, to all the rest of the pools, right? And so you want to buy miners to sort of maintain your position. And if you don't like that, go look at Mining Network, and really hang out there until you understand it, because it's the game part of it is maintaining your position in how much you can earn, and it gives a massive sink for the primary token. I cannot express how worth it is. But everything that you bring in, as the DAO brings in, like, we've just been burning literally everything. Upliftium just kind of comes to get deleted at Uplift. But my proposal will include burning half of it, so that by the end of this 900 day or whatever sort of initial pre-mining cycle that we go through, that will all sit in a treasury account that doesn't get touched until that pre-mining phase is over, and then the Uplift can decide to do it again if it wants to with lower levels or whatever it wants, and then the party will keep going on. And of course, once the supply's all out, then it's really up to the Uplift to maintain the ability to keep having services enough so that Upliftium keeps coming through, and we can there's just a bunch of cool kind of bells and whistles about how we punch it out 20 30 years as opposed to just this initial mining phase. But anyway, rant over.
I mean, I don't know if that was so much of a rant and more of the Ethereum update, I guess, thing. How do you feel about that? Do you feel are you pretty bullish about this whole Ethereum thing?
I mean,
are you like
yeah, I'm kind of in the we'll see camp. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, okay.
I think like the whole, running backwards from the idea that their biggest problem was the perception that they weren't green enough with Ethereum mining. I have a hard time buying that, but it's possible, right? Like that, I don't run in those circles necessarily, but that's right, because we're over wax. Like, yeah, we're super green. Didn't really help us any, right? Not really. So we'll see how many new projects start developing on that chain, and if it can handle that amount of traffic, and we'll see. I mean,
I really love how seriously you answered that question, because like I'm actually pretty bullish. Like I was gonna say I was pretty bullish, but I was kind of stalling because I was just gonna be like, the whole new Ethereum network. Like I don't know, what are we gonna do? It's not like we have anything over there.